Rich people, what is the hardest thing to get used to? I was born into a very wealthy family, and I remember the first time I realized I was different. I was about 8, and my parents had taken me to a toy store. I picked out a toy, but when we got to the counter, the cashier told my mom her card was declined. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I could tell my mom was upset. She took me outside and told me to wait while she went back in. A few minutes later, she came out with a toy. I asked her what happened, and she told me she had to use a different card. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, I realized she probably had to call my dad to get the card unblocked. Fast forward a few years, and I was in high school. I had a friend who was going through a tough time. His parents were getting divorced and he was struggling with school. One day he came over to my house and we were playing video games in my room. He paused the game and looked at me. He said, "You know, I used to be jealous of you. You have all this stuff and your parents buy you whatever you want, but now I realize you're not happy. You have all this stuff, but you don't have what really matters." That hit me hard. I realized he was right. I had all the material things I could ever want, but I was missing something. I didn't have a close relationship with my parents. They were always working and I hardly ever saw them. I didn't have a lot of friends because people would only hang out with me for my money. I realized then that money can't buy happiness.